I kind of like that name. Volume.
Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome to the channel. If you're new, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more Marvel Snap content. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be looking at some meta decks, but I'm not just looking at the meta decks that are going on in general. There's a deck that I want to talk about and focus on, and why I like it so much, and how I made my own altered version with it, and how it's performing. So, in the current Marvel Snap meta, we have the two popular decks, which is Supergiant and this Abomination, which is Star-Lord and Hela. We all know these decks suck to fight against, right? But if we go down a bit, there's a couple extra decks we have. We have the Pixie deck, which is respectable, though I hate Man Spider. We have the Ramp deck that's pretty generic and solid. We have traditional discard, which is doing good right now, which is a good thing. And then we have the deck that I'm really attached to, though I don't play this one in particular because I don't have Zombie Captain Marvel. Also, this one's a little bit weird to run because you have to think about where you're even going to place her and how you're going to use her on that last turn. Like, I could tell you hypothetically how I would use her. I would play the Hood, I would play Blade, I would play Bucky all in the same location, and then play her on that last turn, destroy all those cards, flip Bucky, and just have her pick a spot to go on the field. And while I'm running Luna Snow and FANTOMEX on another location, or like Wild Child and FANTOMEX on another location completely, right? So, yeah, then she would decide, like, hey, yo, I go to this location, you win, right? You let the game decide how the power plays out, right? So she's a little bit of an RNG card that could backfire, just because, like, what if there's nowhere you can put her to win? Then you just straight up lose the game, which is fine. It happens. But this deck's really awesome because I love the engineering behind it, because you have this backup plan that could win you the game when you're losing, right? I have an altered version of this deck. It switches out 5 cards. I'm not using the Hood. I'm not using Blade. I'm not using Killmonger, and I'm not using Shadow King or Zombie Captain Marvel. So most of the core deck is just gutted. Not because I think the cards are bad, it's because I wanted to engineer my own version, and I've been already working on my own version, and it's performing really well, actually, which is why I wanted to talk about it. So my version is this one. Hopefully I can zoom this in. It's really weird. I'll go in the game and we'll talk about it, but we'll just use this as a base for now. So, let me actually back out of this so you can kind of see how it works. So my deck is this one right here on the right. It's Phanto Lock. It has 6 gameplays, 100% win rate, 22 net cubes total, average cubes 3.67. I ignore all this information. It doesn't really matter too much, except for the wins. At 6 games, 100% win rate, right? Obviously, the more games I play, there's more likely chance I lose. But if we kind of like scroll around, you can kind of see, like, actually I haven't played my main FANTOMEX. You can kind of see, like, my FANTOMEX deck here is actually doing pretty solid. I have another deck. It's not. I just became part of the Snap fan, so, like, it's not keeping track of everything that I've played in the past. And the deck that I put together is actually doing quite well. And what I like about this is that if we go into the deck and kind of like break down what's going on, you can kind of understand how the deck flows overall by these cost breakdown and power breakdown, right? Which you can see right here. So the cost breakdown is only a 2.3 and the power breakdown is a 3. So it is, what it's saying is, it's a budget deck. Like, it doesn't cost big, it doesn't take that many of sorts. It's not an expensive deck to play on field. It's all relatively cheap, right? It's a very cheap, effective deck, but in return, I'm not gaining that much power. My power breakdown is kind of mid, because of what kind of deck it is. It's a affliction deck. It's meant to make your opponent smaller while you stay, at a sizable number, but not crazy. So it keeps your opponent from growing while you kind of just, equalize. And that's a really cool theory, how it's like explaining the power, like like, it's pretty funny. So in my deck, I use Kitty Pryde, I use Black Cat, Bucky Barnes, Lockheed, Wildchild, Carnage, Maru, Diamondback, Gambit, Prowler, Luna Snow, and FANTOMEX. It's quite a bit different than this thing, right? This thing's a lot different than my deck. Not saying my deck's better, not saying my deck's worse. I'm just saying it's different ways of utilizing FANTOMEX since he's so restrictive. I like the idea of Zombie Captain Marvel. I think I would totally 100% use her over Diamondback if I had her, just because I think it could make a deck flow really nicely. Mainly because you can destroy like Bucky Barnes, you can destroy Maru, right? You can destroy your extra stuff that you don't need, like maybe your Prowler, while you're playing on your other field. Like your other field might consist of FANTOMEX paired with Wildchild. That way you have two sizable units over there, and then like maybe Luna Snow in the center or something doing her own thing. That way you can actually utilize the effect of Captain Marvel to decide. Does she stay with the Winter Soldier at the 7 power? Does she go in the middle of Luna Snow with the 6 power? Or does she scoot over and help out the FANTOMEX and the Wildchild? And like while you're afflicting and putting negatives on your opponents, she can kind of like choose the best location to go. I think she's a great idea, and if she ever shows up in my shop, I'm gonna snag her just because I like the idea, engineering behind the idea of like this card being like the additional win con, but mine's lacking. My win con is literally FANTOMEX and Affliction. This gives you that extra like power win con, which is really nice. So let's go over the game. You can kind of see the power breakdown here. It's really cheap, budgetable. It's also doing really good. 100% win rate with 6 games is really nice. So that's really cool to know. This is for Conquest, by the way. I test all my decks in Conquest to see the consistency of it. You could play this in Infinite grind if you want to, and like a lot of the same things are being played from Conquest to Infinite. It's all Star-Lord anyway, so it does relatively good into the meta. That being said, you're not going to win every single game because it is dependent on the field. Like these kind of decks that are using FANTOMEX, Prowler, Lockheed, Kitty Pryde, like these style of decks really utilize specialized fields, which I wish I had a list, which I could probably find a list somewhere so I can kind of tell you pros and cons and which fields you really want to play on and which fields you really don't want to play on. In fact, all right, guys. So I actually ended up finding quite a few, or I found a place with all the locations. So we're gonna just briefly break down a couple that really work well with the deck, and then talk about why it's so fun to play in these fields. And whenever you're playing in your games, if you see a field, you can feel comfortable to snap at these locations. I think one of the most important things as a snap player is understanding your field strengths, so you know what games are better to snap on. For example, Bar Sinister here. It's one of the best fields for this style of deck because after you play a card here, fill it with fill this locations with copies of it. Now, normally in most decks or situations, this can also be really good in. Like you can fill it up with all Star-Lords, you can fill it up with all Venoms. you can really manipulate this spot with certain decks. But with with FANTOMEX decks in particular, you can kind of rinse and repeat this like 3 times in the same game and really amp this field up to be special. You can place mines here. Those mines will be used and cast across, inflicting your enemies with -2 power. You can place Maru with like a Venom or a Maru with like a Carnage. The same thing will happen. You'll mass spam them with Maru inflictions, and then Carnage will eat all the units, clearing up the spots. The same thing with Venom. Venom's probably better because it'll grow in size, and you can just replace the Venom on the Venom and eat the Venoms. You can play mass FANTOMEX here as like a finisher on turn like 5 or whatever to fill up with a decently high-powered card there, then, which is 7 across the board, like, and then you get to inflict all the other locations with -4s multiple times because of all these activations. So like Bar Sinister is really, really good. Another one that I really like, which I actually have a clip for, is Sinister London. This one's also really funny because it's the same concept. You play a mine, the mine plays in that location, and the mine transfer overs, and the mine detonates. Now you might be thinking, like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about the best thing ever. Remote mines. This might be my favorite individual. Like, I wish this was just a card that I could play in my deck. I would literally take Prowler out just for this. A 1-cost card that's called Remote Mines as a playable card would be the funnest thing ever. Just to play because Lamau. No, Prowler's really good. He gives you 2 of them. Like, Prowler is so cool. Prowler is one of the reasons why these fields are so like the ones I'm about to mention are so good. Is because Prowler is just the best tech card ever. Not really, but like to me, he's the best tech card, right? So Sinister London, reasons why it's good, right? We have cloning vats. We can clone things. Once again, this can be very funny because you play a mine, you get one returned. You play a Prowler, you get more like cards. You play a FANTOMEX, you get one back. Like we love manipulating this stuff. Making our deck cheaper when it's already really affordable and budgetable is also really nice because we have a low cost deck. This means we can just play more things in a turn. We have Mojo World, which is pretty solid too because we control how big the opponent can get there. If they want to contest this spot, they're going to have to play Luke Cage. But if they play a Luke Cage, well, it depends on what you're running. But like, I have a second deck that has a Rogue in it, just 4 Luke Cages. Like, I know Luke Cage isn't the most popular like card, but it can literally end your run if you see Luke Cage turn 3. Like, just leave. Unless you have Rogue. Then you just steal it and then eat the Rogue as fast as possible. That way they can't steal it back just in case. Because I know some decks like running Luke Cage and Rogue to kind of bait that out. They'll play the Luke Cage for you to steal it, and then they'll steal it back. So if you play a Rogue, kill your Rogue, is what I'm saying. Time Theater is pretty funny. Copy the last card you drew instead of drawing your next card. This one is really good because drawing a second FANTOMEX, you're happy. Drawing a second Prowler, you're happy. Same with Gambit. Same with Diamondback. Same with Lockheed. Same with Maru. Same with Wildchild. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. I wouldn't complain about second one. So either has more energy. Like potentially 8 cards that you can draw again. That would make you mad. Like Kitty Pryde would suck. Black Hat would suck. Bucky's not the worst thing ever. I think I'd be okay with the Bucky. Like they're all like reusable. That's how good their abilities are. So like it works with this deck, right? So there's just a few examples of like fields that you can manipulate and use and feel comfortable snapping on when you play your games because all of these fields enhance your deck to do its job better. A lot of decks can use these fields too, but like for the most part, your deck really likes pushing out more affliction, and the best way of doing it is by mass manipulating it, right? So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I just really wanted to talk about like why I love tech decks and like the engineering that goes behind these decks. They're not just wait turn 5, play Star-Lord, win the game because you have 9 billion energy. No, I like the decks that actually have a plan and can utilize fields plus the deck and play well and on those fields, like really well on those fields where like if you're struggling to hit infinite or struggling to win your games, it's not just the deck you're relying on. You're also synergizing this deck with the fields to make you feel comfortable. Like as soon as you see Bar Sinister or Sinister London show up, you can feel comfortable in that game to just snap. I'm not saying snap right away. Make sure you have like the proper cards to utilize those fields. Like make sure you have Prowler in your hand. Make sure you have like a FANTOMEX or like make sure you have your core pieces for those fields. Like Prowler is a big one. Prowler is in most cases the biggest one to have in your hand when these fields pop up because he loves abusing his mines. Like there's a reason I think Prowler is like the best tech card in the game, and it's because fields really assist him the most. Like Prowler plus a good field equals a good game, hands down. So Prowler, man, you can expect to see him in a lot more decks. I guess the main thing I should talk about this deck and what I would like why I prefer my version. It's not that I don't like Shadow King, but Shadow King has a lot of flaws. Prowler is just all ups, man. Same thing with Killmonger. Like I'd rather play a Prowler over a Killmonger. Honestly, like if I were to revamp my deck, like this version of this deck, I would take out Diamondback for Zombie Captain Marvel, and I would put in That'd be it. I did literally just do that. I put Zombie Captain Marvel's deck over Diamondback, and I think that'd be the only thing I would change, and it would still perform equally as good on those fields because the tech that's in this deck, which is Prowler. Prowler makes decks so good. I let me know if you want me to do like a realistic tier list on this game, because my tier list would be a lot different than other players. Not because I think they're wrong. No, it's just because the way I think about cards, and like I don't look at Prowler as his own like thing. I look at it like, what is he bringing to the table? He brings a lot. So like he's super good. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.